Turn us on. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the operations meeting of April the 30th. And I guess we'll start with Joanne. Do you mind making roll call?
Not at all.
Thank you.
All right,
Maureen Devigier?
You're welcome.
Ruth Dries,
Here.
David Fornes, I don't see.
He's on the phone.
Is David on the phone?
Yes, he's here.
John Gregg? Richard Handelsman?
Here.
John Hess?
Here.
Bobby Levin?
Here.
Joyce Reese?
Yes.
And we've got Fausto Fabro,
Here.
Patricia Caputo,
Here.
Dominic Granaccio,
Here.
Stuart Richland.
Yes.
David Boaz is not here. Jolene Robinson's here, and Jerry Zatowski's not here.
Did you call David Fornes?
Yeah.
He's on the phone.
All right.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Miss Monica?
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're going to first go over the statement of operations for WPRF, and this is for the 4 months ended February 29th, 2024. For the month, we had $611,000 in revenues and $565,000 in expenses, so we had a profit for the month of $46,000. For the 4-month period, our total revenues were $2,224,000, and our total expenses $2,269,000. So we have a loss of $45,000. For that period of time, we had actually budgeted a loss of $471,000. So we have a large variance between the actual results of operations and what our budget was. Budgeted numbers were. So we have a positive variance of $426,000. If you look down the right side of the page here, you'll see all the expenses that are coming in under budget, and the largest variance is repairs and maintenance at $330,000. There's two main factors driving that. One is that we thought we were going to we budgeted to spend at least half of the funds for the roof project earlier than we spent the money. So this will turn around as we begin the roof project and start paying on that project. And the other thing that we budgeted to spend that we have not spent is $50,000, Ms. Eva, in budgeted lobby furniture. We budgeted to spend that in January, and we didn't spend it. So between those two things, that pretty much makes up the positive variance year to date for maintenance and repairs. At the bottom of the schedule is your social activity summary. For your theater and dance income for the month of February, $57,594. For your theater, dances, and movies, we spent $54,000, so we had a profit for the month of $3,545. For the 4 months, our total income for theater and dances is $171,000. We spent $182,000 for theater, dances, and movies, so we have a loss of $11,000. We had actually budgeted a loss of $31,000 for that period, so it's a positive variance of just under $20,000 for the 4 months. Any questions? The next report is your cash balances. As of the end of February, our total operating funds were $714,000. Our windstorm deductible reserves are growing as we're continuing to collect funds there, so we're at $686,000. And our contingency and infrastructure fund is also growing, where we're at $149,000. So our total reserved funds $834,000, and our total available cash, $1,548,000. Any questions? Yes?
What do we want to build the wind?
I'm sorry?
What do we want to build a wind reserve to? Is there any, I mean, I know we're filling it.
Look, our windstorm deductible, if we had a catastrophic storm in this community, our windstorm deductible is $1,750,000. So at only $685,000, we've got lots of room to grow.
Yeah, okay.
To being able to cover that deductible. Yes. Any other questions? Okay. Managed to get your social activities P&L in the report this month. I hope everybody got the one that I emailed after our meeting last month. This is for March. The last month of your, what we refer to as our season. There were 6,069 tickets sold to theater performances during the month of March. We collected $82,750. When you offset the audience view cost and the sales tax, our net sales were $73,391. We paid the performers $81,000, so we have a loss for the month of $7,600. For your Friday night dances, 839 people attended the dances. They cost $1,765 for the month. Your 4 movies for the month, 1,088 people attended the movies, and we paid $1,284. So when you combine your theater, dances, and movies together, our loss for the month was $10,658. The next report is revenue collected from guests. This is also through March. You'll see our resident box office sales versus the guest box office sales. Resident box office sales at $142,000 year to date, and the guest box office sales are at $47,000, total of $190,000. That translates to the number of tickets sold. 11,627 tickets sold to residents and 3,046 tickets sold to guests. The $3 per guest for those 3,046 tickets amounts to $9,138. We sold guest passes in the ID office totaling $22,341. Additional guest passes sold in the ID staff office, and that's $6,241 year to date. So total revenue generated from guests this year through March, $37,720. The last report I have is your estoppel income. March was a banner month for a number of units being sold in this community, and remarkably, it was the exact same number of units sold in the prior year. But having said that, year to date, there's been 240 units closed in this year, and last year, the same period, was 276 units. So we're 36 units down, or 13% from the same period in the previous year. We collected $51,320, which is $6,620 less than we collected in the same period in the prior year. There's one minor thing that's not on the agenda that I did want to mention. I just want to make you guys aware, because I know sometimes, you know, when we have our budget meetings over the summer, we grouse about or talk about bank fees, bank charges being high. But I wanted to share with you that recently, for some reason, I can't tell you why, and nobody seems to care why, but unfortunately, or fortunately, because of the fees that we do pay the bank for services that we have, on our WPRF operating account, We've had like 6 fraudulent checks presented for payment to the bank. One as high as $17,000, and somebody is recreating our checks with, it looks exactly like my signature, looks like Mark's signature. It looks exactly like the check just left my office. And because of a service that we have through the bank called Positive Pay, every single one of those checks were returned as fraudulent. So no money was lost and nothing was paid. But over a period of 3 weeks, we had checks as small as $150 payable to somebody in Wellington, somebody out in Illinois, someplace in Texas. All over the country, these checks were attempting to be fraudulently cashed, all on the WPRF operating account. And the bank does nothing about it because they say, we didn't lose any money, so they, their fraud department doesn't even investigate it, which is unfortunate, but
The new AI.
yeah.
AI.
Mhm.
But, did you contact PBSO and let them know?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, for anybody reading your AARP magazines, a couple of months ago, they listed this check washing, or whatever they're calling it, as one of the top scams going on. It's
Yeah.
really, jumped up in popularity, so.
Yeah.
There's going to be more and more of it because of AI and everything else,
Well, the only reason I want to share this with you is because thankfully we do have that service, and the banks don't provide that service for free, but it was a tremendous help for us and prevented us from losing that money. So that's it for me.
Thank you. I left out a step before. Yes, Richard?
Monica, were those checks returned to you, the actual physical check?
The bank doesn't return physical checks to us anymore.
All right.
No, I have an image of the check, front and back.
I'm just wondering if you could tell if it were generated as John from AI or it was check wash.
Yeah, I can't tell if they do. We don't have any physical checks returned to us any longer. Yeah, and haven't for a number of years.
Are you missing any check? I mean, you
No,
checks-
we don't carry check stock. We print
Oh, okay.
all of our checks.
All right.
They're laser printed.
Yes, I know. Wanting to hear Monica's voice tell us the good news, I omitted the acceptance of our minutes from the last meeting. So at this moment, I'll take a motion to accept the minutes in a second. John, Greg, and John Hess.
The two Johns.
Two Johns.
J.J.
Are there any corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, we'll accept the minutes as presented. Are we good, Joanne? Okay, all right, updates.
We don't have anything in updates. We do have,
If you look on the back of where the minutes is, the pages were put on backwards.
they were, sorry.
That's okay.
Don't know why they did that.
Computer error. AI was not working. All right. Hearing no updates, we'll do new business. Lift station, Dan,
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I missed your last meeting.
put your mic on so they can hear you. You're a little deaf.
Hello?
There you go.
Good afternoon. On the lift station here, we've been working on this for a few years here. We set it out with an engineering firm, okay? They gave us the specifications. We sent this out to multiple vendors. The only one that we got anything back was It was the gentleman, the engineering firm that recommended one of these firms. The price that we had in the budget was 109. At this point, we think it's still that, but that was the price back in June, okay, of last year. There's still some stuff there with well pointings that could be needed. That's an additional $7,000, okay? And of course, the permit fees that are not included in this thing here moving forward. I just want to honestly move forward with this thing here. We worked pretty hard trying to get people to come in here. It's just the size of it, okay? It's not an actual lift station that you see out there from the county's points. It's a small lift station, but it's beneficial to us due to the fact that over the years, when we have a flood back there, it doesn't give us any warning, okay? And it just overspills. That's why you see that area so green, you know? So we have a lot of fertilization back there. And that's over by the, in between the resident pool and the main pool, resident pool and the guest pool, okay?
Is it
So-
work in progress?
Excuse me?
Is work in progress?
No, to move any further on the permit status, okay, the engineering firm did as far as they could get until we picked this contractor to move forward. It's Dawson and Williams Incorporated. This is the one that, they're out of Jupiter. They were recommended by the engineering firm that we were using. And, that was, the budgeted number was 109, if I'm not mistaken, 109, 662, is that right? Okay. But again, does not include the permit fees that we might inherit when we do get the permit, plus the, if they have to do any kind of additional well points and stuff like that. I don't see it, but we have to anticipate that.
So while we're supposed to bring you 3 bids, though we reached out to multiple companies, we only have the one.
Unless you could, you know, but I'm looking at, I tried every plumbing outfit that we had. Then the bigger lift station people didn't want anything to do with it. It was too small, you know, so. And it's staying
Yep.
within our budget line.
Okay, yes, John?
If we need it and we budgeted for it and we got the bid for it, I don't see why we don't proceed with it. So I'm going to make a
Well,
motion to proceed.
All right, so who's going to second that?
I'll second.
Richard Handelsman seconds it.
Now you can discuss it.
Now we can discuss it. We've been discussing about this station
years.
for years and years and years.
So I say call the vote. I mean, everybody.
Does
knows
anybody
that.
have any questions that, is everybody aware of what we're talking about? Yes, Bobby?
I'm not.
This
I
is,
don't know.
this,
Okay,
Are we listening?
we'll explain it to you.
yeah,
It moves the waste
yeah, the
from the
wastewater,
clubhouse.
Oh, okay,
So this is very important,
okay.
very.
it goes to that point right there, and then it basically pressurizes it, so it goes into the sewer system, okay, and it flows to your big major lift stations that are out there,
Neat.
okay?
Yes,
Yes,
very.
definitely.
Yes, Richard?
Dan,
Yes, Rich.
you said that the firm said 109,000 plus you mentioned an additional sum?
Yes, the additional sum would be if we needed any well pointing, which they came up somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,800. And again, I don't see that, but I have to put there just in case we need that money, we need to put it aside. Plus we don't know what the permit would be, the fee for the permit, you know, for this job,
But-
which we're,
Well,
That Richard, the 109,000 was what we put in the budget.
right.
Okay, so we're trying to stay within the budget, and what Dan is saying, the only estimate that we got is close to the budget, but might be a little bit more. Usually the permit is 3 or 4%, right,
yeah.
of whatever the total price is.
I understand, so if it goes over, you'll have to come back to us for another motion for the additional funds, if that's the case, the 9,000 and the permits?
We could, because this takes, by the time we get the permit rolling, okay, and get this off the ground, we could have them out here, and I would discuss it with them a little bit more, so if there's any costs, we could, I'll find that out prior to even starting the job, I think, you know, but
That's what I wanted
at this
to-
point right now, we want to move forward with this, and again, 3% of the permit fees, when we do get it, we'll tell you what that is also when.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Call the question.
All right, call the vote.
Restate it, your motion.
What is the motion again?
This is for the lift station, yes.
Lift station. Okay. Funds for the lift station.
Accept bid.
Okay. Maureen Devigaire,
Yes.
Ruth Dries,
Yes.
David Fornes. Yes. John Gregg. For sure. Richard Handlesmith,
Yes.
John Hess,
Yes.
Bobby Levin,
Yes.
Joyce Reese.
Yes.
Joanne Robinson,
Yes.
David Boas, yes. Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Don Garnagia,
Yes.
Patricia Caputo,
Yes.
Fausto Fabro.
Yes.
Motion carried, very close vote.
Okay, thank you.
Dan, you're up again.
Yes. The Southampton bathrooms, again, this is one that we've been working with for many, many years.
8 years, 9
At least
years.
that, okay. I'm glad that we're finally moving forward. But of course, some of these proposals and bids that we've gotten, okay, very, and I'm still missing one more, but the budget for this, the budget amount was $175,000. So far, Dos Santos was at 175, 421, and we have the Chosen Group at 266, okay? I'm still trying to get CJM, and I'm trying to get another vendor here also too. So I've already got the permit in, so it's a matter of just getting the prices back to you so that when we do have the permit, we either change contractor, okay, which is easy to do, whichever we pick, and then we just, we can start the job right away when we get the permit. The last time we waited too long, you know, and we were towards the end. So the permit is in, we should be getting that within the next month or so. I'm hoping by the next time that I come here, I will have the other 2 bids for you, okay, so that we can make the decision. So we're not in a hurry due to the fact that we don't have the permit right now in hand, okay, in hand.
Okay.
All right?
What were the bids again?
175, 421, Dos Santos, and Chosen Group was at 266, 804. This is now specifications from an architect that we had to do, so they're bidding on the same identical thing, and that's how it's written on our contracts.
This is the same one that we looked at, whole group Barbara also included, that's the same thing?
Yeah, the reason that this went up a little bit, remember, I was trying to save money on doing both ADA bathrooms. Now we're just redoing the bathrooms and making one type bathroom ADA on the outside. So they accepted this in City of Pembroke Pines. I don't see a reason that they wouldn't accept it here. There's a very large savings in that, because to make both bathrooms ADA, there's a lot of concrete and everything that we would have to move in the plumbing portion of it, you know? So to do what we're doing here is saving us money, and it looks like the other ones will be a little bit easier. This particular building stands alone, where the other ones, okay, remember we had laundry facilities, okay? We could utilize the plumbing and tap and basically frame out inside these rooms, which would be a lot cheaper than this particular one, okay? This is, I think, the only one that we have like this. We might
It
have,
has showers
no,
inside.
yeah, but the other one is, Dorchester is the other one that looks like this one here, if we have to redo, because it stands alone by itself without a laundry facility. Okay, but the other ones, like I said, we could tap into the laundry facilities, and basically it already has the roof and everything. We just frame out the bathroom and then tie in. The electric is there too, which is very helpful. Plus, the only thing we would have to do is the plumbing and the fixtures, of course, you know, to make it ADA. Excuse me? Yeah, well, if we would have started this a long time, we only had 5 of them, we would have been done a long time ago, you know?
Well-
But we got to deal with it. We're moving forward in the right direction.
I do remember we bumped it a couple of times because something else came up and we needed the money, so the decision was made. Yeah, just like the Dorchester fence.
So let's, I would say by next month, we would have the other bids, and then we would make a choice on that. And hopefully I could tell you that we have the permits also, so that we can move on that right away. Okay. The other one is,
Special meeting.
well, the meeting for the, this is on the roof, right? Is that what the-
No, special meeting is that we have a list of things we thought that because it's so difficult, it seems to get bids.
Let me just go with
Yes,
the roof
go ahead.
real quick. I'm sorry it wasn't here on this thing here, but we did have a meeting with the roof contractor, okay? Basically a job site meeting just to make sure where they're going to start, when they're gonna start, where they're gonna put their equipment at. Eva pretty much and Asia and Kevin are pretty much aware of when that's gonna happen, how it's gonna happen, so they'll be giving us a schedule. As soon as the schedule is given, we will hand that to you, and then Eva will isolate the areas that we need to isolate while we're doing this work, okay?
They anticipate what, that the permit for this is gonna be something like 10 days. We walk the clubhouse, so according to them, they're gonna have something like almost 30 people up there.
They can get
Working
this
on
done
this.
very, very quickly,
And we
so.
need them to because we don't wanna get caught in the hurricane season, so they should start in May.
We did come up with something, and I would advise you to, that there could be a little bit of extra costs here, because if they find wood that's rotted, okay, they would have to take that wood out. If you remember, we isolate underneath, okay? That isolate is stuck to that plywood. So when they take that off, sometimes they say it comes off and it stays there and they just put it back on top. Sometimes it does not, it comes right up. And we have to know when we put the new plywood that we would have to isolate that back up to keep that insulation that we paid a lot of money for, okay? There will be, some areas, and I'm hoping that it's not a lot, but we gotta anticipate that that could happen, okay? So we brought that to their attention because they didn't realize that we had isolate underneath there. The other thing that we brought to their attention is how on the roofs you'll see these parapet walls that are up there that divide the sections up. So they're gonna go to a certain point, and we're gonna make sure that it's watertight on the top of that before we finish the whole job, and that's a color that Eva will bring to your attention of what we're gonna paint. And also Eva is gonna bring to your attention of what the shingles that she's picking out and give you the colors, okay? That's something she will deal with you. But we discussed all that, and I think we're moving in the right direction with them. They were, seemed very professional, on how they're gonna do that. So it was a good choice. Okay, and now, special meeting. Go ahead, Dean, I'll let you.
I thought that was a special meeting.
No, that was the meeting we had. This is a special meeting with you guys.
Right. So again, we always come up with our lists that we're gonna present to the committee, but we're having problems getting bids. So rather than try to get bids and then bring it to you and you're gonna say, well, no, we're not gonna do it for this budget year, we thought we would sit down with you and that we would present everything and you would tell us what you'd like us to move forward on and get prices for your consideration. And it might not be everything on the list, so I think it would just make it easier all the way around because it's, again, very difficult.
I think we sat with this before, but this is great that it keeps us from getting extra bids that we're not gonna, and it doesn't matter if we don't do it that year, the bids are gonna change again, we'll have to do it again, so it's good to just sit down and go over what's priorities, and what you are wanting also, and put those, list them all down so I can move forward in getting these prices together. Yes, John?
These that you're going to bring up have already been budgeted for this year, right?
No, this is for next year's
Oh,
budget.
this is for next year? Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different, it's just, I think it's good that we work with you so that you understand where we're gonna go. And it keeps me from doing overwork on something and Asia and everybody else that, the paperwork here.
It's a pre-meeting of the meeting.
Yes.
Pre-meeting of the meeting.
No problem.
It's a pre-budget meeting, basically.
Yes, but you're gonna give us direction. You're gonna say, well, you know what, don't bother this year. These are the more important things, and that's gonna be probably a certain amount of money. And then we don't waste our time getting bids that a year later won't be any good anyway, right? So, yeah.
Dorchester, okay, I think we're done, unless there's anything else on new business?
No, that's good.
Okay. The Dorchester fence bids, I guess I was not here when there was a question asked about the mechanical fencing and if it's for commercial or not. Mechanical fencing, basically, unless you request, okay, mechanical fencing is used on both residential and commercial, okay? Commercial fencing or railing, okay, again, it also depends on if it's a chain link, there's different thicknesses of the pipe and all, okay? But the basic one for the mechanical one is snap-on. If it's gonna be a rail that somebody's gonna be leaning on, like your catwalks and things like that, of course, that's gonna be a welded rail, it's gotta be a lot stronger, okay? We did put on there, they put in commercial, we do have the specs here, but I just want you to understand that this is just a standard, the standard mechanical fence that you see out there is a certain thickness and that's it, okay? If you want thicker than that, okay, that's a request, and of course, that's a special order, and that's more expensive. We've done all these mechanical fences throughout all the Century Villages, okay? And it's just one standard that we do, because nobody's gonna go up to that next grade and pay. We're not jumping over this thing, and we're not going to lean against it that much. And we've had them there for years and years in all the other Century Villages, no problems. Actually, the best thing with the mechanical fencing that helps us is the door closures, that they close a lot more, a lot easier, and also easier to maintain, you know, compared to the other ones. Your chain, yes.
Sorry to ask again, but I thought we went over this.
The issue was that not every bid specified the grade. So Dan is just confirming that, although that's not the case, the grade from bid to bid is the same. That was the question.
Well, they put in commercial, and I asked them to, you know, but I'm gonna just tell you, like I tell you, if I want a thicker mechanical fencing, I have to request it, and it's a special order, okay? The regular standard industry out there is the thickness that you see here, okay?
We've been messing around with this for the last 6 years. Let's just do it.
Or more, yeah.
Okay, I'll let, whatever the.
I know,
Do I have
that's what, that was a question.
You have a question?
You want to know if it's a 6
No,
foot?
no, no. Is it the same fence that's at Camden Pool, the black one like that? the one
It's at
that-
Hastings, that's the 6 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, is it the same that like at Camden Pool with Hudson and?
We have Camden Pool, we put in the gate, because that gate wouldn't close, so we tried the mechanical fence there. So yes, that's gonna match that, what we put in at
Hastings.
Kent Pool. And we have another one, a gate that we replaced at Somerset. Those were the ones that were not latching and caused a problem that if a child wandered in or somebody with Alzheimer's and fell in the pool, we'd be in big trouble. So it will match that. We don't have to redo those sections because we've already paid about $5,000 to put those 3 gates in. So they're just gonna attach it to that and it will all match.
But we don't have those, we have a chain link
Where?
at Dorchester.
Correct, so the whole thing is gonna become mechanical.
Right.
All the pools are gonna become mechanical.
Yes, exactly.
Right,
Okay,
yes.
that's all.
Just like at the main clubhouse and at Hastings.
Okay,
It'll look just like the main clubhouse.
Yes, John?
Where can we,
Okay.
done.
Well, we have the 4 prices. I'll go over it again. It was Chosen Group at $28,339, Dos Santos at $38,500, Martin Fence at $43,000.
And the budget part.
And the
Budget amount.
budget amount was $32,000. I thought that was budget, but
they haven't put it up yet.
thank you. I was gonna say nothing.
Dan,
Nothing's been done yet. This is.
Yes.
this is
when
done
can
yet.
we expect it to be put up?
At this point, give us the okay, and we'll give you that schedule. It's just a matter of phone call and getting materials over.
I'll make a
But then-
motion, we move on with it.
I would say by the next time I sit with you here, it should be done, so.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Well, you have to.
Well, I'm sorry, I take that back, because
Yes.
we do have to go through a contract with this.
Yes.
So it has to, that takes a couple weeks to get my contract.
Grade of
Sorry,
difference.
that was a non-acceptable.
So
As
everything's
soon as we
been
can.
approved, right?
Yes.
Good.
Well, you need to pick the contractor, that's
These are
all
the
you have to do right now.
prices in addition.
The budget is $32,000.
That wasn't a very nice, good question. Is the pool gonna be open?
No, we can't, no.
I know.
So,
Don't mind me.
as everybody understood, Chosen Group, $28,339,
All right.
Dos Santos, $38,500, and Martin Fence, $43,000. And the budget amount that we have budgeted is $32,000.
But is the initial,
Chosen group, I
We
think that was what
worked with
we
all of
picked,
them.
right?
No, because the prices were incorrect, and so, based on the wrong prices, the last time it was Dos Santos that looked like they had the lowest price, but it wasn't on the mechanical fence that was 6 feet. If you'll remember,
Yeah.
we got so many different prices, and
They were
and so
very
I
confused,
apologize
let me
for
tell you.
that.
Did you ever work with Chosen before?
Yes.
Chosen did our catwalk. Chosen is doing our men's shower at this time.
Okay, so you know them. All right.
so has the initial funds been approved?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what, 3,000 under?
That would be nice.
700.
You spend less than what you have.
Isn't that, that's a switch, isn't it?
So it's up to you to vote down that?
You just have to
Okay.
motion.
So
So,
we need a motion for whichever, yes, John, go ahead.
Let's move on with it.
We need a motion.
I make a motion that we move on with the fencing.
All right, what company, what price?
Whichever one that Dan.
Chosen,
Chosen.
There you go.
want to make a proposal to accept Chosen's.
Yes.
At
Right.
At
28,339.
We're gonna need a second on that.
seconded it.
All right, Maureen's hand was up first. Maureen seconded,
My
okay.
pool.
Hopefully, there's no more discussion on the fence, height, width, arguments, black, white, purple.
That's enough of it. Move on.
David, could you call the vote, please?
If I can get one answer, I shall.
Okay,
Everybody's talking. What is the final amount from the chosen group?
28,339.
Thank you.
And you
Gavin
said,
made the motion and who seconded it?
Got that.
Okay.
Fausto, you wanted pink in the color, or?
I thought he mentioned purple.
No, he was joking.
I
Okay.
was actually looking for something different.
Motion to accept the chosen
I
group,
got to choose the company.
seconded by Maureen Debegaire,
Hi.
fencing at Dorchester,
You got it.
Dorchester Pool, 6-foot height for $28,339.
You got it.
All right. Maureen Debegaire,
Yes.
Ruth Streets,
Yes.
David Fornes,
Yes.
John Gray,
Yes.
Richard Handelsman,
Yes.
John Hess,
Yes.
Bobby Levin,
Yes.
Joyce Reese,
Yes.
Patricia Caputo,
Yes.
Dominic Carnaglia,
Yes.
Stuart Richland,
Yes.
Joanne Robinson,
Yes.
David Boas is yes. Fausto Fabro,
Yes.
motion carries.
So,
Point
thank you, everybody. So there's only 5 of these pools we need to get done, so we are going to be bringing you one, well, actually, we'd like to bring you 2 next year. We'll talk about that at the special meeting.
Sorry, I
However-
can't hear you even.
Oh, yeah, so anyway, this will be coming up at each budget until we get them all done. It's only 5 more, and then we're done with that, so.
It took us 6 years to get
We're not
this
gonna-
one done.
Yes, and we've learned from that.
So we have 30 years to go.
Whoever's around next time.
It won't be me.
I think we're moving in the right direction. I mean, some of these items, like you said, we're discussing a good 5-7 years ago, you know, so. Especially this, just the pool, I remember this because we had the problem with the
Backup.
backup there.
Yes,
you know.
I remember
We
going-
got that all repaired and everything, and then we were going to do it, and it just kept on, rolling on.
Well, we kept putting it in the budget, but that money was always being used for another emergency.
Yes.
Yes, and Dorchester fence, we traded it 1 year because we found out that the fire retardant on the theater curtains had expired, so we had to do that, and the amount was the exact match.
We should have closed the theater down. The pool's more important.
So we've traded out. We do what you have to do that's priority.
Ed comment.
Yeah. I think, again, we're moving in the right direction, and it looks like when we do these pool houses, okay, we have it in our computer systems now, because some of the pools that we've done, we've done the ones that we renovated, probably 7 years, how long, the longest one back, 8 years. Remember, we got 10 years before you do diamond breaks again, and then there's a reschedule. So this is good to have everything in here, so look how long these pools lasted, okay, without being touched inside of them. I mean, they're falling apart, partitions and things like that, but luckily when we open it up, we'll see the frames in the one in Dorchester, because we know that's all rusted out. We saw that years ago, okay? So-
Southampton was gone a long
Southampton,
time.
yes, was down at the bottom, was completely rusted out. When we opened it up, we saw that,
So
so.
what did you guys do at Dorchester? When I was over there, there was like new outside, and I thought they did the inside. You did-
Dorchester, we just did the.
You
pool,
did
but-
some upgrading, no? You put the shower on the outside walls, because I'm there a lot too.
Dorchester?
Yeah. Yeah,
It might have been, did we do the partitions there?
Yeah,
That's
we
the
did.
thing. We're
I think
trying
we
to
did
do
the new partitions.
Okay,
Some of the
so-
things we will, if the partition's in good shape, we'll look at that.
Okay.
But we,
Mhm.
the partitions that we're putting in is those, plastic ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, all right.
So I don't know what we have in those particular ones, because we started with something before and it wasn't working out. So, we'll look at everything, you know, but should, again, everything we're putting in there is for longevity and for maintenance, you know, so,
Good, yep. No, better
Okay.
products are available, we're gonna make use of that.
thank you. Any questions?
Yes, John?
I'm gonna have to leave in a few minutes, just thought I'd let you know, I have a doctor's appointment,
Yeah, hang on.
I'll miss you.
Thank you.
you know.
So what does that mean?
That's all that we have unless there's something under good of the order, so.
I have a question, it may not be the appropriate time, but there's been all this controversy at the men's sauna. Is there an update on that? I don't know what you're gonna do, but I'm sure we get a lot of complaints, as you well know.
Before you even mention something, I'm just gonna, we sat here and we gave them the opportunity, okay? We spent money to repair, okay?
I know.
The amount of, money that we spent on that was ridiculous, because I had to sand that whole thing because it had so much Creole on it, that when it was getting hot, it was just, the wood was getting so hot that it could burn. So we fixed it all up, and we just said, if everybody takes care of not doing what they're doing, and they're putting these things inside there, which they're putting plants and everything else, and leaves, and then we heard that they were drinking inside there, so they're not being
Empty beer
respectful.
cans, we're finding empty beer cans. It's the same person.
You know,
Again?
unfortunately, one
Yes.
person could be doing this, and then it basically took it away from us. The UV product is a good product, it's just the problem is,
Infrared.
the infrared, yes. The infrared will do the same thing, it's gonna be about 5 or 6 degrees less, okay? But it's gonna be a lot beneficial for us in the
How do
long
we
term.
prevent it, though, from happening again?
It won't in this particular case if we change them over, you know? So next year's budget, that's what we're going forward to. I can't take the chance of it catching on fire,
Of course.
okay? That place is, a lot of it is wood above that, and it will go up really quickly, you know?
You know, listen, we put up signs with pictures, we were very clear about it. I even had some men step forward that volunteered to be spies. We thought it was happening around, later in the day, around 4:30. You know, one name came to me, I pulled him right in, and I know him in other ways, and when he said he's not the one, I believed him. You know, but we can't put cameras in there. I don't know why this person continues to do it, because he's also taking it away from himself, never mind everybody else. It's very selfish. So unless we can be creative and come up with something and open it back up, we'll get back to you on that, because, but look, again, we don't want a fire, that's for sure, but I don't want to take it away from the men either. There are a lot of men that enjoy it. So that's going to be one of the top projects that we're going to recommend to the committee for the budget to approve. And I think the ladies sauna came in at something like 100,000. Of course, 72,000 of that money came from the insurance company, you know. So it doesn't come with a cheap price tag, but it's very necessary because we've got someone who just refuses to do the right thing.
Unbelievable.
Yes, it's
Eva?
unbelievable to me.
Unbelievable.
Eva,
No, what are you-
can we put a camera on the outside? I know you can't put it in the inside, but somehow on the outside, seeing who comes and who goes, so it doesn't happen again. I, for one, feel very angry about it. I would not even vote for fixing it right now. We spent a lot of money that could have been used somewhere else, and everyone made a big stink, but because of someone's stupidity, doesn't mean we have to cow down and do it over again right now. I don't think that's a priority. I
We don't
really
have it in this budget. It would
No, I
have to
know,
go in
but
the
I-
next budget.
I'm not crazy about it, but my suggestion is, can we put a camera on the outside?
No,
Why not?
because the
Because-
men are naked in the bathroom, although they have to wear a towel or shorts in the
I've
sauna.
never seen
She's
anyone
not
go
talking
in
about
naked.
that, she's talking about
Um,
the entrance.
The entrance.
Right.
To the exit,
Okay.
It's far away.
outside.
Right.
But how
Not
do you
in the
know what he
bathroom.
does once he's
There's a
inside?
camera in the corridor, but
Yeah,
it's
the corridor.
far away, I think, this distance. And then you have the entrance to come in through the backside too, you know? I think we have a camera.
I know, but we have cameras all over here.
I have a suggestion that you limit the saunas to 2 hours a day, and that we have a monitor outside
It's not gonna work.
for the men and for the women, until this gets resolved.
The women's not a problem with the,
Well,
provided-
you can't, I'm just saying, if the issue becomes that there's a monitor there for 2 hours, and those are the 2 hours that the sauna can be used. This way, if something happens, there's somebody there and it can't go too far.
There's no difference in men and women. Let's get this straight once and for all. There's no difference in men and women.
What is he talking
If
about?
you have a monitor outside the men's, you need a monitor outside the women's.
Well, that's what I said, John.
What is
I
wrong?
agree.
The issue becomes, they're saying the ladies, they don't have a problem. I'm just saying, if you have a monitor for one, you limit 2 hours a day, maybe an hour, 2 consecutive hours, or an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon. This way, the individuals could use it, and we're not eliminating anything. We're giving them a set
I
time.
totally agree.
It's only a suggestion. You understand what I'm saying? Well, at least if a person goes in there and the place catches fire and there's one guy in there and there's somebody outside the door, you know that the guy who's responsible.
Well,
He's
we
the
knew-
eyes and
we knew-
ears.
Well, we had video of the woman who started the fire on the women's side. The only problem was she was literally squatting in an apartment. She was not approved by the building. She was somebody's caregiver that had died, and she continued to live in the apartment with the daughter. So we had no name. She was using her charges ID,
I think
so we never actually, if she had nowhere to live, she wasn't, what were we gonna do
she
to her?
moved behind Publix, remember?
Did she? I don't know.
Yeah, in her car. She moved behind
Who are
Publix.
you talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
It was only a suggestion.
Listen, believe me when I tell you, we're bouncing a lot of things around. So the issue's not dead, we just haven't come up with something we think that would work. Make them sign in, but then they could go to the pool, come in the back way, and you don't even know that they're, right? So believe me, we're discussing different things. We will get back to you if we come up with something that we think would work and that we could do it safely. I would love for security to be able to check everyone's bags coming in, but they take such a beating anyway, and a lot of people are just gonna refuse. So, again, talking about a lot of different things, we'll get back to you.
Yes, Richard?
There's another suggestion. They have to turn in their ID card for a key to the locker. If they want to use the sauna, they turn in their ID card and get a card, so that anyone who sees them in the sauna, they have to display that, so make it a little red square.
Right.
In the sauna, they have to have it displayed so
But-
that the other people.
But that man who does this is not gonna say, I'm gonna go use the sauna. He's gonna go out to the pool, he'll go in the back door, and he'll do what he does. We won't be any the wiser.
People like
But
that
if
can
he's
find a
in-
way.
If he's in the sauna and people see that he is not displaying the red card, they know he has not turned in his ID to get it at the security
So they're gonna
desk.
bring their cards into the sauna,
No, they, just like getting a key to the locker.
right?
You turn in your ID card at the security desk, you get a red square, something that when you go into the sauna, you have to have it displayed. When you leave the sauna, you turn it back in and get your ID card.
Okay,
Anyone who sees,
listen, well, I'm gonna think on that one.
anyone who sees them in the sauna without that little red square displayed knows they have not turned in their ID card to get it.
I have to think that over the years, because we've been dealing with this for a while, that someone knows who this person is. But again, they haven't come forward. I've only ever gotten one name, and I really don't think that he did it. He said he didn't, I believe him. So,
I like the idea that, a couple hours, the only thing is, we're not, unless security is involved with it, for Saturday and Sunday, Monday through Friday at certain times in the morning, or.
2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon.
Yeah, and and you can monitor it, at least security can go in there after the 2 hours and see if there's a problem,
Gotta be somebody sitting outside that door.
Yeah,
There gotta be somebody sitting in there watching the person
that's a whole,
going in.
that's a whole different, yeah,
It's gotta be monitored. If it's not monitored, you're not gonna be able to use it.
Correct. And I've asked security that we always have one female guard and one male guard over at Hastings, because if I have 2 women, they just can't go walking in and check on things in the men's sauna. But we have more female guards than we do male guards, and they try to give us one of each as often as they can because of the contrasting schedules. It would be great if I had that. and then they could just go in there constantly, but a lot of times I have 2 women there.
John,
How many individuals was in there the day that caught on fire? For that fire took place when
In the
it burned?
ladies' room, only one lady. That's-
No, in the men.
Oh, the men.
For the latest incident that they're talking about, they burned the leaves and all that crap in there. How many people was in the sauna that day?
We have no way of knowing that. So what happened was, we believe it's at the end of the day, closer to the end of the day, because they want the solitude.
Well, I'm not,
It
what I'm
was our
trying to get at,
glow,
for every action, there's gotta be a consequence of some kind.
So
Somebody's
glow-
gotta be responsible.
glow in the morning found,
They didn't find it till the
they
next
found,
day.
and this was a lot of debris, so I think they burnt more leaves than ever, because it was much more on the floor.
How did they walk in with leaves?
Could have had another
Again,
fire.
so, huh?
Could have had another fire overnight in there.
Well, thankfully we didn't, but when I got the call that the sauna burned, I would have given a year's salary that it was the men's sauna. I mean, that it was the women's just floored me, but that woman who did it, now she didn't have her big towel anymore, right, because it burned. So she had this itty bitty little towel, she went out and was knocking on the glass to get security's attention and pointing so that they would go in there, because she was trying to tell them that it was on fire. She was the one that caused it, but she was decent enough to try to warn them, and she was, the video was pretty interesting. She was naked with this little tiny little, like a hand towel, and she's just holding it, but knocking, okay? So she tried to do the right thing.
Yeah.
She didn't mean for the fire to happen, you know, so yeah, interesting. Sometimes the footage, pretty interesting.
thanks, John.
Well, I just can't understand why somebody isn't being held responsible somewhere along for that. I know you got a lot of people, but, call the proper authorities and have some, real detectives instead of Dick Tracy trying to figure out.
This
who
is
done
not
this.
their job. This is private property, and this is on us. They will not.
Just keep
And
it.
they'll
So-
tell you all the time, it's private property, your security, you have to deal with it.
You just have to keep it closed then. There's no other answer right now.
Well, I don't know.
So in other words, it's just open season. Everybody wants to come in and burn shit down, they can just burn it down. And no,
I don't understand the mindset of this particular person, because he's taking it away from himself as
Well,
well.
what I'm trying to, if you get down to like, if you know 3 people, I know you supposedly got cameras in there, so you ought to know everybody that come in that building that day. However many men that come in that day, put everybody's name on a list and say, this is what it costs and this is what each one of your share is. And if they say, well, I didn't do it, well, I didn't do it. Well, one of them had to do it. So I don't know how tight some of these people are, but I wouldn't pay. I'd tell them, well, I'd drop a dime on them in a
To
heartbeat.
just have video footage doesn't mean we can identify them. We can see people walking in and out, but if we have so many new people in this village, though I think it's somebody who's been here for a while, that's not enough. So we can take people's IDs. Again, give us a chance, but I'm open to any thoughts and suggestions, so please feel free to email me your ideas and we will discuss it and see what we can do. I don't really want to keep this closed the rest of the year. That's a lot of months. So, well, we need to figure out something. It is. I can't believe this person is this
If they keep
selfish.
smoking like that, it gets, again, it messes up the wood to where the heat intensifies inside there, and it could cause a fire that way. You know, it doesn't need to, it's just like a chimney, you know, if you have the Creole, you know, when you burn something, it's exactly what happens there. You know?
Monitored use, that's the only way. Sorry. Okay, anything else? Somebody had your hand up before? Did we answer your question? No? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David,